There's two ways to use the Luminair software, and we've been experimenting with both. And for a long time, we've used this essentially a scene per environment that we have up front. So like if there's a song, we have a scene for that particular song. And this actually works for a worship service really, really well. And what that means is that when I press on the scene button, it will change all the values and all the different lights to be the color or in the position that you've set. And then if I change those a little bit, it automatically remembers what that is. And then whenever I go back to that scene, it just is automatically right there. Works great, really efficient for changing scenes. And I can make copies of scenes, and then like for example, I can copy one and then just change the color of one thing, and then I have another scene. Now, where that kind of starts to break down is if I decided I want to add, let's say 4 more lights, or 1 more light, or however many more, and I want to have it in a certain particular scene. Like let's say we have a person playing the cello that's going to come in and play on a particular week. We now want to have a light that is focused on the cello player. And what that means is that for each one of the scenes that we have laid out, because oftentimes we'll just use the same scenes from week to week to week, what you have to be able to do is focus then a new light in on that particular person. So the way that works is that I would have to go to the first scene where I want the cello to be accented and dial the mover or whatever it is in and get it set up just right. And then I would go to the next scene and the light would reset to not being on, and I would have to put it onto the cello player. And I would do that then for each particular scene. And that's an example that's probably palatable. You can do that and say, hey, that's fine, we'll go ahead and make that. However, if you had a larger change, you can kind of see where this would become a bit of a hassle. And so the Luminair software actually has another way to do it. You can do it where you control groups of lights. And so a scene can be set so that it only controls a certain subset of lights, and it then doesn't control anything else. For example, if I had a situation where I only wanted to control the wash lights, I could say, hey, the front wash lights are going to be this color. So I could make one that's maybe blue, and one that's red, and one that's orange, and one that's white. And when I press those buttons for those scenes, it would only change the front wash and not anything else. And then I could have another one that is for, let's say, the front lights. And so you could say, here's the center, here's a left, and here's a right. And so with that, I can now choose which one's highlighted. And then I can take those scenes and compile them into kind of like a master scene or a sequence that all would come on kind of immediately. And would then you have this whole thing that kind of happened at one time. So there is some flexibility there. We've just started using that. We recently did a concert. And for doing concerts, that's fantastic because you can kind of almost play Luminair like an instrument where you're deciding, hey, the energy level's going up. I'm going to turn on the moving lights so that they're actually moving. And it's a really neat effect. And then, hey, the song's kind of going back down. I can go and turn the moving lights off and just have them focused in one spot. So really, really nice ways to be able to control this both with scenes that are fixed and also with scenes that are just a part of your lights rather than all of them. So you can give that a try. There's great documentation. I shouldn't say great documentation. Luminair documentation is sufficient. I would not say it's great. Again, if you find that you can't get the documentation that you need, feel free to let me know and I'll try to put some videos up about that.